Don't forget, Viall Files Plus now offers ad-free episodes for all Viall Files episodes, including Ask Nick, Reality Recap, and Going Deeper. Plus, if you love Ask Nick, you will absolutely love our Ask Nick updates, where you get updates of your favorite calls, our deep dive on all your favorite Reality Recap TV shows, and our pop culture roundup, where we talk about all your favorite pop culture topics that we didn't get to in this week's episode, plus deep dives on our Going Deeper guest, and so much more. All you have to do is go to Viall Files Plus, and you will be lucky you did. What's up, everybody? We have a very exciting announcement for all the Ask Nick audience out there. We have new Instagram and TikTok specifically for Ask Nick. So if you want to avoid all the pop culture and reality TV content that we're putting out there and just focus on all things relationship, dating, interpersonal relationships, and just Ask Nick content, just please give us a follow. It's Ask Nick Viall on Instagram and TikTok. So give us a follow and enjoy. We'll be glad that you did. All right, let's get to our first caller, but not before you go on and give us a follow.
You're crazy.
How's it going?
Good. My name's Hannah, and I'm 36. And my question is, why did the ending of my situationship hurt worse than the ending of my actual divorce?
Okay. Where do you want to start?
I guess I could start with, my divorce and kind of the relationship I had with him.
Okay.
And why it ended. So we were together for like 8 years, and we do have a son together. But it was kind of like a chaotic relationship, I'd say. Like lots of ups and downs, not very healthy, kind of the whole way through. So I'm the one that initiated the separation, even though I should have done it a long time ago. I did it around like October. So it is kind of still new.
You ended it last October, so...
Yeah, the October that just went by, like 2025.
So probably technically you're still married, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are definitely getting divorced.
Yeah, I've moved out. I'm in my own apartment.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just guessing when you asked for the separation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing there was almost a sense of relief.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was pretty much ready to leave probably about 3 years ago. Another layer to it, like what I think gave me the push to finally leave, is I did lose my father in June. So I feel that kind of, in a weird way, gave me a push to do it. I don't know why, but it did.
Death and losing people we love, it's a finite thing. It makes us value our own lives a little bit more. It gives us perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that life is short. Our time is limited. And obviously you were in this marriage, spinning your wheels, feeling a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
staying in the marriage. Obviously you were, obviously to death do you part. And so there's this big commitment you make to each other, but you were probably grappling with, do I invest in this marriage and try to make it work, or do I accept it for what it is and not waste my life and try? I'm still young and I'm still in my early 30s. I guess it had something to do with along the lines. It gave you perspective that you weren't processing until the loss of your father.
Mm-hmm. Perspective's a good way to put it. Like definitely, like after losing him, it's like, okay, if I can handle that, if I can get through that.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Sure.
Almost. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and it was like, he agreed on the separation. It wasn't like he was begging me to stay or anything. He was pretty quick to move on. Right on to like the dating sites, and he started seeing someone kind of right away.
How did that make you feel?
It hurt a bit,
Sure.
but I still didn't like want him back. It just
It hurt your
like,
ego.
ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, yeah, it's still kind of shitty to think of him with somebody else.
Sure.
Obviously. Yeah. But
hey, listen,
yeah.
when we end relationships, like it's like I don't want you, but I want you to still want me.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I guess fast forward just till around like December. Like I wasn't looking for anyone else, even though he was kind of with somebody else, but somebody just randomly added me to Instagram. I didn't know him. We had a lot of mutual friends. I think that's how must have popped up on his Instagram or whatever. And then we just started talking, and I ended up, liking him a lot. And yeah, he just abruptly ended it just like last week. And it really hurt. Like it devastated me, I feel like,
Sure.
yeah. And worse than when I left my marriage.
Well, it's just apples and oranges. I mean, we can talk more about your situationship, but I always like to say this. But if we were on this call and had some time to work things through, and I just ran into you in the elevator, and you're like, "Oh my God, Nick, I have this quick question. Why am I, processing my situationship worse than my divorce?" And I'm like, "All right, well, I got like 2 minutes." I feel pretty confident giving your answer as to why, because
Okay.
you again, I asked you, it's like you ended the divorce. You saw that through. And you saw it through. Actually, you did more than see it through. You were like, and when I look back, I think deep down I knew I was probably this marriage wasn't working a couple years ago, and
Hmm.
then you kept trying, and you still fought, and you probably did a bunch of different things in those 3 years to see if they can make this work. And by the time you left, not only were you not even that sad, you were kind of relieved, because deep down you knew this wasn't for you, and the only thing that was really keeping you in that marriage was the commitment to each other, your for fear of what people might say about you, the fear of moving on, the messiness of a divorce, the fact that you guys share a child together, all like understandable concerns, but like none of which was, I'm not sure how I feel about this person. Am I going to miss them? Am I going to be regretful to like end this marriage? And is he the best thing that ever happened to me? Am I being selfish? Am I wondering if there's more out there for me? Am I chasing? And it was none of that. Right. So like once you finally had the courage to say, I think we should separate, that was probably a very liberating feeling. You not only were you not sad, you were confident, you felt good about it. You were like, oh, thank God. It's like,
Yeah.
you were like, why didn't I do this sooner? The fear of doing it was much worse than the reality of doing it. And I had been in relationships where it was like, there was one relationship I ended where it was like the best day of my life. When I dropped her off.
Well, I did get congratulated quite a bit. He actually
and
separated.
It was just like a weight off my shoulders, and it was like, I'm free,
Yeah. I kept saying that actually.
Yeah.
I'm free. Like I kept saying that to my friends. Like, yeah.
And then you met this guy, and there's a lot of things you liked about him, and it was new and it was exciting. And I don't doubt that he probably presented a lot of qualities that you didn't get in your past relationship, which made you really like him and really excited about the possibility. And then out of nowhere, he ended it.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you processing that harder than the divorce? Is because this is like, you have a bunch of unknown answers. You were excited. You didn't have control over this situation. You didn't get to see this through. You feel like you don't have closure.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's apples and oranges. It's not
totally
because one was a situationship, and it's just like you're thinking this was a marriage. This should be harder.
Mm-hmm.
This was a situation. This is almost nothing.
Yeah.
Well, why do I feel this way? You're not processing the loss of him, but you are processing, and probably what is still a little scary for you is the unknown of your future. All the times while you were still married to that guy, your ex-husband, I'm sure at times you're like, well, what if I did leave? What would that look like? What will dating be like? I'm sure there was a little bit of excitement. There was also probably a lot of fears. I'm sure most people who listen to this show, because they enjoy hearing everyone's stories, who are currently in like happy relationships, and every time I'm like, man, the dating landscape fucking sucks out there. It's brutal, man. Like, it's fucking terrible. Everyone listening is like, oh, like, thank God I'm in a relationship. You're like, I don't know if I want to be in this relationship, but damn, dating, sounds scary out there. And then wouldn't you know it, some guy reached out.
This is the situation I'm in.
Yeah, some guy reached out to you and hit you up, and you're like, oh my God, this is fucking easy. This is great. And then you met him, and you're like,
it came right to me.
Yeah, and and it was great. And then he left. And so, yeah, there's probably a little bit of like, the reality that moving on in the dating, from a dating aspect, might not be as easy. But more than that, it was probably just like the loss of the excitement and the possibility of the unknown.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was going to say too. Like I was just like so happy and so excited for the first time in a long time too. And then it just like went away within like a couple hours. Like it just out of nowhere. Like everything was normal one day, and then the next he was just, I'm taking a step back, like out of nowhere. So
yeah,
it just all went away. Yeah.
You have to give yourself some grace in the sense that, like, even though you were ready to move on, you're still obviously healing from that divorce. You're still figuring out what this new life looks like for you. And he was probably a really great distraction from that. And now you're back into the reality of a newly divorced single mom.
Like actual, like this time. Like I feel like he did give me the push to stay away from my ex
yeah.
and not
Well, the
go
part is like
back.
once you like left your ex and you had this
Yeah.
feeling of like, woo, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I got nothing but optimism in front of me. There's
Yeah.
all these new possibilities, and then the reality of being single and the reality of dating out there
Yeah.
smacked you
It's
in the
depressing real
just
fast.
smacked you in the face. Now your insecurities or ego or whatever is just like, well, bitch, like, well, here we are. This is gonna be a grind. That's probably where all these feelings are coming from. And
Mhm.
why it hurts. It's definitely not about this guy. How long do you hang out with him for?
Like 2 months.
Okay. But
It's
yeah,
embarrassing really how, like, much it hurt from, like, only, like, 2 months.
2 months is a
Like
decent amount of
but we
time.
talked, like, every single day, like,
Exactly. So
constantly. Yeah.
over 2 months, you can build a pretty meaningful like connection with someone. You can
Mhm.
certainly develop feelings. It doesn't mean you know everything about these people, and doesn't mean like had you got married instead of him leaving, it would still be a huge leap of faith. We're going to get married based off how we feel now, and we're going to hope that what we learn about each other over the next couple of years
Mhm.
um, doesn't change how we feel, which is a huge leap of faith. I think it's really just that. And I think maybe you just have to like, again, I think it's really, you have to really give yourself some grace. This is about narratives in your head and not questioning yourself, or it's just kind of accepting like that happened. That's a bummer. I definitely got excited. It was a really fun distraction. And it was a fun distraction that had some really exciting possibilities, and now it doesn't anymore. It's so fun to like someone and think about the exciting possibilities. And
Mhm.
so that was just ripped away from you.
Mhm.
And
Well,
now,
that's the thing too, like, the day before he was talking about, the future and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he has family issues or something, and
he was trying things out.
yeah.
We do
Yeah.
that.
Well, I know he was, like, talking to other people too, because he told me. He just said that he wasn't talking to anybody else, like, he was talking to me, basically.
That's the why, I'm guessing, is to why you're feeling that. So the important
Mhm.
thing I think is to try to not spend that much more energy on the why. And
Yeah.
and I don't
That's
and
the hard part.
it sure,
Uh,
but once you know, now it's just holding yourself accountable. If you are agreeing with my analysis, I guess, and
mhm.
if what I'm saying makes sense to you, now like once we get off this call, if you start asking yourselves those why questions, why am I feeling this way over that? Making yourself feel a little dumb for having such strong feelings for this guy that you didn't even have for your ex-husband.
Mhm.
That's just you choosing to not think about it. And that's not you holding yourself accountable. And that is you using your free time or your mental energy to still enjoy the drama of missing him. And it keeps you preoccupied. It's something to do.
Right.
You can definitely control your thoughts. And now that you know the why and the reason, you have to now you have to accept that. And yeah, will things pop in your head? Sure. But now
Yeah.
you can go, wait, stop. Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. And not emotionally beat yourself up and give yourself a hard time and treat it like an apples to apples situation.
Mhm.
It's not. And still be excited. Nothing's changed, right? You still
Yeah.
survived a tough marriage,
Mhm.
and it took a lot of guts to leave that marriage. And you have no regrets about that,
No.
correct? Right?
No, I don't. No.
Um,
No.
and that's a huge step. And this guy showing up, who was a fun distraction, doesn't change any of that.
Yeah.
And so you just have to remind yourself that you're still in a really good spot. And everything you signed up for when you chose to leave that marriage is still on the table.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true, like, nothing has changed, actually, so yeah, that actually makes me feel a lot better that the way you just said that, so because I beat myself up quite a bit about that, about it ending, I guess. because I started to think like, oh, it was me, or I did something wrong, or
You weren't his person. It's fine. You
yeah,
know, you only knew him for
yeah.
2
And
months.
I didn't really know him. Know him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do
I knew
know. Yeah.
surface level him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew fun him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the hard part with dating because we say things, we try things out, we want to see, you know, and it's not we try things out because we think we're using people. We don't really know how we feel and we say it and we
yeah,
feel it in the moment. And then it's just like we sit with what we said and then we process it and you realize, I don't know, maybe I don't know. And so he went through that exercise, but yes,
yeah.
there's nothing you did. There's nothing you did wrong. It's just not your guy. And you could sit there and go, "Oh, is it because I have a child? Am I a single mom? Is it because I got divorced? Is it because I'm still not taking maybe." But
Well, he
again,
has kids too,
sure.
so
I'm just saying
yeah,
whatever but I'm saying that the things that we do, like the things that you're doing, questioning yourself, you're making it
yeah,
about you. You're making it about like, what did I do wrong? And I'm just saying, I'm sure he has his reasons of why he
hmm
didn't want to pursue it. But that just means that like eventually those reasons would have come up in the future. He's just not your guy. And instead of feeling rejected by him, you just have to like, he's not my guy. That's also something you have to take into consideration. It was a very empowering moment for you to leave your marriage. Fuck yeah, I did this shit. You know,
yeah,
it even felt good. And then like
yeah,
you didn't even have a couple months before some guy's like,
yeah. Never mind. Yeah,
yeah, like and someone
yeah.
took your power away from you a little bit. And so it's less to do with him. It's a lot for you to process in a short period of time.
Like it's like a completely different life, like
Yeah.
in just a couple months, right? So yeah,
It would do you a lot of good to really just be proud of yourself. You made a very difficult decision. And to really be focused, be excited about the possibilities because nothing's changed. Like I said,
yeah, yeah.
you have your child. I imagine you
I have
enjoy.
two actually.
You have
Yeah,
so you have your kids. I imagine
yeah,
you
yeah.
really enjoy them. I imagine
Yes,
they are
yeah.
important to you. Talking to a lot of women who are out there dating, who hope to have kids someday and haven't
hmm
had the opportunity to do that. No matter what happens in your dating life going forward, you will
hmm
always have your kids, you know, your friends,
Yeah,
you know, and
and I
so
do have great friends. So
yeah.
that, and I have my mom, so she's still around.
So
Yeah,
I look at it for what it was, a fun little rebound, a fun little moment. Must have been fun to just kiss someone for the first time, feeling new feelings for a new guy. It was
hmm
fun. And it's still
hmm
fun. And you don't have to take anything away from that just because he left and hurt bruised your ego. You can still be like, that was a fun time. I needed that. All the important things I have in my life, I still have.
yeah. That's a really good way to look at it, honestly.
The
Yeah.
reason you had the guts to leave that marriage is because you looked around and you saw your children, you saw your friends, you saw your family, and you're like, I can lose this guy. And honestly, I still haven't lost all the important connections I have in my life.
hmm
And you have all those, and you still have all those. So
Yeah.
now you just have to like get back out there when you're ready. I would deprioritize dating a little bit. As much as
Yeah.
you want to get out there, I would be open to
Yeah.
dating. I would be excited about the possibility, but like I would be cautious about jumping on the apps. I'd be cautious about like asking
hmm
your friends if they know any single guys, you know, things like that. I would be cautious
Right.
about going out with your girlfriends and only prioritizing where are the hot men, you know, and things like that. I would really try to
hmm
be in the moment and just have some fun and really enjoy the company of your friends in ways that you weren't able to enjoy them while you were trying to like make a marriage work and lean into the relationship with your kids and really try to just be grateful for what you have. And I really think that will really help reset all this kind of ugly feelings you have from the situationship and just
Yeah.
and think of it as like this was a great thing. This I'm glad this happened.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think where it came down to the way you said it bruised my ego. I think maybe that's what happened. A lot of it too.
For sure. Yeah.
Because after because he told me over text he was taking a step back. And this isn't like me, but I sent him so embarrassing. I sent him like a paragraph explaining like, you know, my feelings, and then he read it and then never answered me again. And I'm just like, ooh, like I
Yeah.
shouldn't have even done like that's not like me. I would never have done that like before, but I was just more like, what the heck? Like you were fine yesterday. Like,
Yeah. That's
you know
normal.
what I
I
mean?
mean,
And you pursued me. Like
Yeah,
You don't get to end it.
we've all done that. Thank God there's that unsend option now.
Yeah, I should have done that.
You still can.
Or just go back and like it.
I'm glad you're able to laugh. I mean, you have to be able to laugh at
Yeah.
this stuff. I mean, it's just it shook you up a little bit, and
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
you got to look at this as an exciting time in your life. The only memories I have of my past relationships are the bad times, because they're the times I survived, and it's so true. I the only time I ever reminisce about past relationships, I just think of this text message you sent this guy.
Yeah.
You're already laughing now. That's a great sign. You know what I'm saying? But you're just like, I was so fucking stupid, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, why did I do that? And like, that's fun. I mean, I don't know. I think about that stuff from time to time, and I never reminisce about like some date that we had, or some really romantic night, or some fucking anniversary celebrated. No, I remember when I was down bad and feeling like life was gonna end. And I didn't know how to move on, and ways that I just obsessed and made bad situations worse. And I laugh at myself, and I laugh about the silliness of it all. But most importantly, I'm just kind of grateful from what I learned of those experiences, and that I survived them. And as we get older, your divorce will be a really important moment in your life, because you survived it. You know, the loss of your father, obviously that's a little different, because you will always miss your father, and you're never going to look back as a good time losing your father. But like you said, you survived that. And just so much anxiety is us worrying about the future. It's the unknown. It's the unknown of bad things are going to happen, and I don't know if I'm going to get through them. Will I be able to pay my bills in 6 months? Things are going really great now. What if I lose it all? How will I respond? Those are all the things that makes us anxious. You know, that's why I'm generally an anxious guy, because I'm always ruminating, and I'm always like, my therapist tells me I have abandonment issues. My childhood, I have a scarcity mindset, because we grew up, not with a lot of money and things like that. So now that I'm in a position where I've accomplished a lot of my dreams, and I have financial security, I'm not less anxious. I'm more anxious. I'm not. I'm like,
because you could lose it, or it could just disappear.
Yes,
not that that's going to happen, obviously, but that's your fear.
Exactly. So what helps me is knowing what I've survived, and knowing that I don't know what the future will hold, but I know that I will survive it. I will get through it. I don't know how, but once you do, you rarely regret those things, because then you realize, because then you meet people and experiences happen. Like, even when it comes down to like business opportunities, I've had business opportunities that had substantial dollar signs attached to them that didn't come through. Right. And then when you think, when you're talking, talking to my manager and talking to my team, my agent, and, like, oh, this is just an opportunity, and there's this dollar sign attached to it. And you start assuming it's already a done deal. And then that doesn't come through. Right, for whatever reason. And you're like, I just lost out on X number of dollars. Oh, fuck. That sucks. And then wouldn't you know it, 2 months later, something else comes along. It's a better opportunity. It's more money. One, what doesn't happen if the other does. It's just having that awareness without having to overthink it, that allows us to work through the disappointing times, and allows us to not be anxious enough. And that's where the, being more mature or more emotionally regulated is to be able to process these feelings on our own, or with a therapist. For me, it took me months to process this shit. Now I can do it in an afternoon with a phone call with my therapist or my wife, where it's like, okay, yeah, I do feel this, but here's the why. I don't need to understand it. No matter what, we'll work through it. And just having that confidence that you will work through it will get you there. So,
well, I actually just started therapy yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So
I challenge you to not use your time in therapy to relitigate the past just for the sake of it. Things you've already worked through in process, try not to go back and ruminate over them.
Yeah.
Therapy is a funny thing, because we can over therapize, and depending on who your therapist is, some therapists will just keep spinning that wheel. Some therapists will call it out and be like, maybe let's move forward, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to you. When you reach a milestone, like an emotional milestone, I think it's important that you kind of recognize it and hold yourself accountable and not backtrack. The challenge part is like all this is just internalizing. It's all our inner monologue. It's all our thoughts. So it really is important for you to recognize, all right, I had this conversation. I got some good advice, or this was helpful for me. Try not to, like, whether it's with your therapist or in your own head. Sure, feelings will come up a week from now, but a lot of people will just, for the sake of doing it because it's something to do, they'll choose to ignore all the progress they made, the advice they got from a therapist or some podcast guy, drinks with the girls, and you will, like, because it's fun, tell that story again. But
I'm guilty of that.
That gets you emotionally stuck.
Yeah.
We're the main characters in our own life. We like to rewatch good movies, right? And our favorite movie is our own life. And so we like
Not lately, but
you're still entertained by it, and it's the thing you enjoy talking about the most.
Yeah.
It's rewatching your favorite movie, even though that favorite movie has a scene in it that really makes you sad, but you watch it every time, and every time you watch it, you cry, and you're going to cry, you're going to feel sad, but you still rewatch it every time because it's the drama of it all, and it's and in that movie, that in the third act, they'll get better. It's just a very dangerous game we play with our own lives when we commiserate and ruminate with our friends or with ourselves when we're alone at home taking a bath or whatever. It's a dangerous game if we want to make progress emotionally and move on.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
No, that's like good advice. I've never been given that advice before. Like, just don't keep talking about the same thing over and over, especially the situationship guy, I feel.
Put that to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to do that. I feel like the divorce is a little bit different. There's a lot of layers to that one, but
and
I'm still going through it and all that. Like, and I got to keep that man in my life. Like, he can't just go away. Can't
100%.
forget about that one. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But
But no, that's good advice.
Help yourself, and you can help yourself.
Yeah.
And at least be mindful that when you do give in to that weakness or temptation, don't do the thing that so many of us do where we are like, I just don't know why I feel so bad about, I'm having a bad day. It's like, well, because you've rewatched this scene 50 times. And unlike the movie that we watch, that's our favorite movie that we cry over the scene. You don't know how your life is. You haven't seen the end of your movie.
Yeah.
So you're stuck replaying this sad scene. Waiting for an answer, waiting for that other act to move forward. So just be careful about playing that dangerous game.
No, I will. Yeah, I like that advice.
Okay. Was this helpful?
It really was. Honestly, I appreciate it so much.
All right. Well, enjoy your friends, enjoy your kids, enjoy your family.
I will.
And enjoy the journey of dating.
Enjoy your twins, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. We're a little we're not scared, but it's kind of like, fuck, we're gonna do. We're gonna.
My nephews are twins. My brother's been there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're gonna be 17 soon.
Okay.
But I'm jealous. I'd love to have twins. I think that's amazing.
It'll be great.
Cool.
I think. We have a lot going on this year, and I think it's a challenge for all busy parents and working parents who
absolutely.
We all want to have our cake and eat it too, so we'll have to figure that out. But I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You've got some good things coming, so that's good.
All right, I appreciate you.
All right,
take care.
Appreciate you. Okay, you too.
Right. Bye-bye. Whether you're renting or paying a mortgage, one of the biggest monthly expenses should be working harder for you. That's where Built comes in. Built is the membership for where you live that rewards you with points on every housing payment wherever you live. Built started out rewarding members for their rent. Now, as of 2026, Built members can also earn points on mortgage payments wherever they live. Every housing payment earns you points, so you can use towards flights with top travel partners like United and Hyatt, Lyft rides, Amazon.com purchases, and so much more. Personally, we use our Built points for all those Amazon purchases we make all the time. But here is what I think is the most underrated part of Built. Built members are also getting access to a neighborhood concierge. You can make restaurant reservations, book fitness classes, and find new local spots, all while being rewarded at more than 45,000 merchant partners. It's simple. Being a renter and now owning a home is better with Built. Join the membership for where you live at joinbuilt.com/VIALL. That is JOINBILT.com/VIALL. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Oh, well, we've talked about Caraway a lot, and we'll keep talking about them forever because we were absolutely obsessed. Well, me personally, I'm absolutely obsessed.
I'm also obsessed because they're very easy to clean. I don't like cleaning dishes.
And if she washed dishes, it would be easier for her to do. But they are amazing pots and pans, and most importantly, what we do both love about Caraway is they are safe for our family. So many pots and pans out there are not, shockingly and sadly, safe for you and your family to cook on. Did you know that consumers unknowingly consume over 150,000 microplastic particles every year? And over 70% of cooking and baking pans sold in America are coated with PTFEs? Well, not Caraway.
And they don't just have pots and pans. They also have an amazing lineup of butcher blocks. They have great
food containers, places to store your food, leftovers.
With glass lids, everything comes with like its own way to be organized. It's very Virgo coded. Honestly, the creator of Caraway must be a Virgo. I believe in it. Caraway is in over 2 million homes and over 150,000 people have rated 5 stars about their Caraway kitchen. Now it's time to try it for yourself. Caraway's cookware set is a favorite for a reason. It can save you up to $230 versus buying the items individually. Plus, if you visit carawayhome.com/VF10, you can take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/VF10 or use code VF10 at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic kitchenware made modern.
How's it going?
Doing great. How about you?
Good. What's your name?
My name's Nicole. I'm 30 years old. Am I wrong for dating someone that my ex-best friend went out on 2 dates with 3 years ago, even though she's about to get married?
Does she know about it?
And let me just kind of preface by saying that when we had a falling out, which was last year, our falling out happened before I started dating him, but I had met her at the same time that she had first hung out with him because we all went out for drinks. And this was like 3 years ago. And then they went out on 2 dates. And then he moved about a month into them hanging out. And so she never, like, he always set the preface that he wasn't interested in dating at that time.
Okay. So is this someone you're currently friends with?
No, not anymore. Not since October. So her and I hadn't spoken for about like 3 months after we had a falling out in October. And then she had reached out to me in January because he came down to visit me because he doesn't live here. We do long distance. But he came down to visit me for my birthday weekend. And one of our mutual friends had posted a picture with him in it. So she had saw that and screenshotted it and sent it to me. And she was like, are you dating so-and-so? I said yes. And I told her it was very random how it all happened. You know, when I met him 3 years ago, I hadn't spoken to him until December, which is when he had reached out to me because he had saw that I was in Chicago, which is where he lives. And I was there for a friend's birthday and he saw like my stories. And so he reached out and like wanted to see if I wanted to meet up and grab a drink. And that's pretty much how it all started from there. So it wasn't like a planned thing where I went out after him.
Just out of curiosity, why do you care?
I would say I care because, this friend I was friends with for, close to 15 years.
Okay.
The falling out was kind of, I was honestly kind of surprised by the whole reaction of the falling out that we had. I wasn't expecting it to kind of finalize our friendship. So I think that was a little bit hurtful, but I think just in the way when she had reached out to me about this guy after I said that I was dating him and that I didn't really see that it would be an issue considering her and I hadn't spoken in like 3 months and we're no longer friends. And, they only went out on 2 dates. Wow. And she really came after like my character. So I guess I just want like an outsider's perspective as to if she's kind of justified in the way that she was feeling about the situation.
Okay. Why did you guys have a falling out? So just to recap, this is this girlfriend of yours. You've been friends with her for 15 years, since high school.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so close friend, lifelong friend, and up until
Yeah.
very recently,
Yeah.
you guys were friends. And then in October, less than half a year ago, give or take,
Yeah.
you guys had a falling out where you're no longer friends.
Yep.
Okay, what happened?
So she got engaged to in August, and she had planned a bridesmaids dinner in October to ask all of the girls that were going to be in her wedding, to be her bridesmaid and ask them in person. So I had flew because I no longer live in that state anymore. So I had flew back for that. And prior to that bridesmaids dinner, after she had gotten engaged, she had mentioned about like she wanted me to be her maid of honor. Well, we hadn't spoken about that. I didn't feel like it was necessary to reconfirm my title after she had said that. And so went to the bridesmaids dinner. I was also going through like a pretty, kind of brutal breakup. But I still wanted to show up for her. And I was with her that whole day of the bridesmaids dinner, helping her set up and like run errands. And then fast forward to the dinner, we all open up our like bridesmaids boxes that she gave us, and the girl across from me had a card that said maid of honor, and it just kind of threw me off because when I opened up my card, mine said bridesmaid. And so it just caught me off guard considering like we had been together all day. And I thought that if, I didn't care that like the titles, like it wasn't about titles, it was just more so that my friend didn't bring that up to me before the dinner. So
she didn't ask you to be a bride. You assumed that you were a maid of honor, or you thought she asked you to be a maid?
she had said it to me after she had gotten engaged. Like we had like that weekend after she had gotten engaged, she like told me that she wanted me to be her maid of honor and her cousin to be matron of honor. And so I just had like gone into it, assuming that after she had told me that. We hadn't had a conversation about it since, she got proposed to in August. So I went into the bridesmaids dinner thinking that I was going to be like a maid of honor. And like I said, I don't care. It was more so that like I felt blindsided in the moment. So
then what happened?
I got up from the table, but this was like after 10 minutes. Like I tried to like, not make it a big deal or anything. So I walked into like another room. One of her other friends came in there and had asked if I was okay. And I just said I felt like hurt and blindsided in the moment. And then I had a conversation with my friend, like completely away from everyone else. And she started getting like super defensive, and she was just like, I don't know why you're trying to make this day about you. And she's like, I don't know. She basically just said that like she was only going to have her cousin as like a matron of honor, and that things had changed. And the girl that actually got the maid of honor card shouldn't have gotten it. I guess she said it was like an accident. It was just a weird thing. And I just told her like, I felt hurt and blindsided, and that I felt kind of just uncomfortable being there. And so she was just like, well, if you want to leave, you can leave. And then we went downstairs, and then she announced to the whole table that she was like, so Nicole wants to leave because she doesn't understand the difference between titles. And yeah, just, brought that up in
She
front
calls
of the
you
whole
out?
table. And then, yes, yeah. And like, I was just really honestly shocked by her reaction. And the next day when she had reached out, like I had apologized because I understand that like the timing wasn't the best to maybe confront that situation. But I don't think my like behavior in the way that I reacted was like extreme. Like I did not make it, a public thing in front of everyone else.
Yeah.
I'd step,
Well,
out of the room.
what you're telling me, and again, there's always two sides to every story, and this
Yeah.
happened a while back. But yes, from what you're telling me, it sounds fairly reasonable. This wasn't this wasn't the actual wedding, so there's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly, this is her engagement and blah 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 blah. But yeah, she told you one thing as your friend. She ended up changing her mind. She's allowed to do that, but she did it in a way that caught you off guard because she didn't communicate it to
Yeah.
you. And while it is her day, this dinner, you are allowed to
Yeah.
be caught off guard and you are allowed to have hurt feelings. Now, it
Yeah.
sounds like looking back, did you handle it perfectly? Maybe not. I don't know. But it doesn't sound like, from what you describe, that it was outrageous. What is outrageous is that she called you out the way she did in front of your friends for you stepping aside and saying, "Hey, I'm a little hurt. I guess I thought I was going to be your maid of honor." And
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. Maybe I am making this about me, but if nothing else, it's my friendship means a lot to you, and I was honored that you were gonna. So yeah, sorry about the timing, but yeah, my feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
And then then you guys got into the weeds of you're hurt. You wanted some support from her or some just empathy or whatever it was. You got the opposite. You got like take it or leave it. And by the way, you can go. You didn't get what you wanted. She didn't get what she wanted. And then she chose to like triple down and call you out, which sounds crazy if that's how it went down.
Yeah, it was. And I will say the only thing that I do kind of regret saying is when I was leaving, one of the girls came up to me and was like, just kind of like consoling me. She like felt bad after my friend had just kind of like announced that to the table. And I was like, I just want to go to a place that has better vibes. So that wasn't probably the appropriate thing to say, but like, I mean, yeah, I
I don't
think
know. I feel like again,
when I was communicating my feelings to my friend, I never had once said like name called her or was like rude or mean to her. I just kept it like explaining that I felt hurt and blindsided and that I wish she would have had a conversation with me beforehand.
just
And she felt that I guess it was just completely out of line to bring it up on her day, which the whole purpose of the dinner was she even announced at the dinner before the dinner started that this is for her bridesmaids. That's the reason she's having this to like ask them officially in person. So I'm like, I get it, but I mean, I was just shocked like by her reaction, considering how long we've been friends and like she like really knows my character, even though like I had moved 7 years ago, like we still remained really close friends. And like,
can I ask you a question? When you've been friends with this person for 15 years, the story you're telling me sounds a little crazy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And my question to you is this behavior about this one night, is that out of pocket for her? Is it like, did she turn into a bridezilla? Or when you reflect back on your friendship with her, did she usually expect more than she was willing to give?
Yeah, I would say that that's the case. I do think that she sometimes would expect more than she's willing to give. And she tends to look at things a lot from her perspective. And I would say she's definitely more of a reactional person. So her reaction, I can't say I'm surprised by it, but I think I was surprised by it because her and I have never really had, like a confrontation like that because I think my personality is kind of like opposite to that. So I've seen her have tiffs with other friends, but like my personality has never really clashed with hers until that moment.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of important for you to consider.
Yeah.
So, and then just to put a bow on the story, you guys just stopped being friends after that situation?
Yeah, she had reached out the next day, basically sent me like novels of like, that she was upset that I tried to make the day about me and that she wishes I would have like brought that up on a different day, which I did take accountability for and apologize. But yeah, we never really spoke after that exchange that very next day.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad you took accountability, and yes, you could have.
Yeah.
You certainly could have waited till another time to express your frustration, but all you did was step aside. And then she came and chased you. And then she made her day about you by announcing it to the table.
Yeah, which I was like mortified about because like it wasn't something that I wanted everyone to know. I wanted to just have a conversation with my friend and essentially just be like, hey, I hate that you're feeling this way. Like I do want to talk to you about this, but maybe let's talk about it tomorrow. would have been totally fine, but like she was just being very defensive and then just saying like, this day, like, I don't know why you're trying to make this day about you. So, but yeah, fast forward, then I start dating this guy. And so then she comes at me pretty strong after said, yes, I am dating him. And she's like, there's all these people in the world, and out of like everyone, you choose to date someone that I have hooked up with. And she's like, that's just desperate to me. And I was like, first of all, I never even reached out to him. Like, he reached out to me, and we have not spoken since the day that I met him with you. Like, it wasn't a planned thing. I think the thing that and then I then did say to her, I'm not sure why this concerns you so much when you're about to get married this year. I was like, I don't feel like you should be upset about somebody that you went on 2 dates with 3 years ago.
I'm sure her response was something like, I'm not upset about him. I'm upset about you. Something like that.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I guess she was like, like if the roles were reversed, I would have like, but I was like, we weren't friends. Like,
We haven't spoken.
I feel like I'm extremely respectful of my friends in that aspect. And if her and I were on speaking terms and friends, I would have messaged her and said that he had reached out to me, because that's the sort of friendship that we had.
And it just to clarify, after she sent you the long ass text the day after this whole shit show dinner, how did you come to the decision that you guys were not on speaking terms? Like, was that like, did you guys agree to that?
Based on the conversation, yeah, it was like, she's a friend that I feel like has a lot of opinions on things, and she did not like the last guy that I dated, and rightfully so. Like, I mean, he definitely didn't treat me well.
Okay.
But it wasn't like I ever involved her or brought him around. And I feel like she always just kind of had an opinion. And so that week when I was visiting for the bridesmaid dinner, because that's where my ex at the time lived, I had saw him, and she felt some type of way about that. So kind of leading before the bridesmaid dinner, she already kind of was like not in a weird spot with me, but I think she like that there was already kind of a little bit leading up to that where she maybe felt some type of way about me. And so then,
and then, to be clear, because you saw your ex or boyfriend or whatever, and she didn't approve of this relationship, and
yeah, and I hadn't seen him. Him and I broke up in September because we were doing long distance. I hadn't seen him until I went up there for the bridesmaids dinner in October.
You're not the first person to have a hard time getting over a toxic relationship, and you're not the first person.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we've all been there. We all have friends who have been there. Certainly, when we see our friends make bad decisions, we want to challenge them and encourage them to not make those decisions. But when they do make those decisions, it's weird for them to make, as your friend would put it, make it about her. Like, why would this affect her? Like, she shouldn't feel a certain way about you. I mean, maybe sadness, maybe some disappointment, maybe it requires some words of encouragement or some questions in your direction. But like, you're describing that she was personally affected by your decision to see your ex, or at least that's how she was acting.
She's just a very controlling person. Like, even so much so, like, this is gonna sound crazy to say, but like, I remember one time her fiance ordered a milkshake and she got mad at him for ordering a large. Like, just weird stuff. Like, she's very, like, she's just very controlling. And so, like, I mean, I think I knew that our friendship, I had felt that as like we've gotten older, that she maybe doesn't kind of align with maybe some of the same outlooks that I have in life, and kind of approaching things and like kind of treating people. So I did feel like a little bit of a distance with her in that aspect. But I mean, we had been friends for so long, and like I think I tried to give her grace. So I think that that's why, like, in that moment, the way that she reacted at the bridesmaids dinner, I was just caught off guard by it, because I'm definitely one to understand if someone has kind of a pattern of behavior, I do understand that you have to like distance yourself, if they're not learning from that, but like that was kind of just a one-off thing. So
Sounds like she sucks, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, I wanted to get like your perspective as like, I guess just like a male and just like an outside perspective, because even my friends that know both of us have kind of validated kind of the way that I feel about it, but I think it's always good to get like an outsider's perspective.
But your mutual friends don't think you're crazy.
No.
Okay. Well, that's a good. I mean, it does matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it is important what they think,
Yeah.
even when you want to get an outsider.
Yeah.
But they know both of you. They know the situation. I'm not
Yeah.
not believing your version of the story, but I am only hearing your version of the story.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But listen, like she sounds like a really selfish person, and the fact that your friendship started in high school and is
Yeah.
a lot of those friendships are based off of like history, right? And to your point, like sometimes we don't evaluate friendships in real time about how friends show up for us and things like that. Like our friends sometimes almost like family.
Yeah.
Like those lifelong friends get grandfathered in. It's just like you're my family because you're my family, not because we have a bond or like a lot in common or we get along. I just like you're my family, And sometimes that's how
Yeah.
like long-term friends are, right? As you reflect back, as you said, this is someone who, when you think about it, has had a lot of falling outs with other friends. Maybe not you, because as you've said, you've never really been in conflict with her. And maybe that's partly because like you're a more passive personality and not that confrontational where she is.
Yeah.
And so consciously, subconsciously, you've avoided confrontation with her. So despite her personality and yours, it's never stopped you guys from being friends and friendly. And the fact that you did move away from her probably actually extended your friendship in a way, because it like stopped you from having some of these interactions on a personal level in adult life that might reveal that you guys really honestly don't have a lot in common, or that you're kind of in conflict with your personalities, that your values don't align when it comes to like what you expect of friendships. It probably was this, again, like allowed you guys to really lean into the history of the friendship rather than the friendship itself, right? So then she gets engaged, right? She gets engaged.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
She throws this out there. It meant a lot to you. She called an audible. She changed her mind. And because it's, the selfish person, right, who is now engaged, it's like that's what the bridezilla comes from. Like I don't think everyone turns into bridezilla.
Yeah.
I think people who like, are you really used to getting their way and demanding of other people and are used to demanding of their friends? Now they feel like they have this like hall pass to really be obnoxious and to really be a bitch to people, because it's like, this is literally about me. It's my wedding,
Yeah.
And so she's like hopped up on power of this, and she does this crazy thing. Calling you out that way is such a cruel, mean girl thing. It was so cruel. And all
Yeah.
you did was you had hurt feelings. You were allowed to have them. And did you handle it the best way? Honestly, Honestly, I don't think stepping aside and having a moment and expressing you're sad. She's the one who came up to you and said, "What's wrong?" She made
So
her day about you.
I did say I wanted to talk to her.
Okay.
Her friend, one of the friends, like did pull me, or when I went up and like went in the other room to like get food, she had came up to me after.
Okay, so maybe you couldn't have done that. All right, so fine. That's your
Yeah, but I
your
didn't
big
like
sin.
do it in a way where it was like I did it like discreet, so because I didn't want to make it a thing of the table.
Yeah.
Like,
so again,
but I do get that like pulling her aside, because she is kind of like the main person of focus that night. Like I do think that people are gonna notice
Sure.
if she's gone for a little bit.
I'm glad you're willing to consider the role you played in this, but don't you think don't you think it almost, as we talk about it out loud, doesn't it sound a little ridiculous that you're kind of mentally jumping through so many hoops of like, well, I could have done this like, I mean, it wasn't like, this wasn't even her goddamn wedding. This wasn't like her bachelorette party. This was a dinner it was like a dinner for like a wedding. It was like, again, it's, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
She did, but like whatever. This is not, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I think I've tended, like you said, I have been a little bit more passive of a friend with her, because I just think she just has such like an intense personality.
Clearly.
But I feel like I somehow am able to handle those types of people well. I don't really get like too fazed by it. I think I just try to kind of like, I don't know, not keep a distance, but I just don't get myself like involved in some of that. But I definitely think that, yeah, it was just, it was a really weird situation, just how she acted, and then even what she said afterwards, like the next day, basically saying like the audacity that I had to try and make that day about me, which
Yeah.
she knows me really well, and like we had some mutual friends that were there at the bridesmaids dinner too, and they know that I'm not somebody that ever likes to be the center of attention.
Well, listen, the most selfish people in the world are the ones who are guilty of accusing other people of being selfish, right? Like
Yeah.
they're the ones who say things like the audacity of other people, the audacity of you to not make her the center of attention. She is someone who likes to be the center of attention, so much so that she was willing to call you out at dinner to be the literal center of attention. Can I have everyone's attention? My friend here, she sucks.
Yeah.
This friend, you go on a date with this guy, you have a falling out with this friend, as you know, and if you've kind of clearly have played it out in your head. Whatever. He reached out to you and like, yeah, if there was a world where you guys were still close, you probably would have reached out to her and said, hey, Mark, I just got this random DM from Mark and I don't know, I'm single. He's like, would you care if I said yes? And and again, a lot of, when it comes to friends,
Yeah.
being cool with that, kind of 50-50. Some people are like, I don't know, I don't care.
It's funny too, because like basically how she met him was 3 or so years ago. She was at her cousin's wedding, and her cousin's sister-in-law had brought him as a date to the wedding. And so he works in healthcare. I'll say that. And so she had asked his opinion on something that she had a concern about. And so she'd asked for his number. Well,
She
after
stole him?
and she was dating someone at the time who she brought to the wedding. Well, about a few months later, she had asked my now boyfriend, had reached out to him and was like, hey, how have you been? And then that's when the first time that they had hung out was when we all like went out for drinks. So essentially, like, not even her relationship, but like things started off with them because she, like, her cousin's sister-in-law, who she's also like friends with, brought this guy, like brought
Yeah.
my boyfriend
Yeah.
to the wedding as a date.
So, I mean, listen, I guess and the reason why I asked for all this backstory on this friend, because it seems like that's really the heart of why you're having a hard time with this. And she called you out and she said some hurtful things about your character. And you're right. There's this kind of like, friend code, girl code, whatever. But like, there's a lot of gray area here and you're struggling with it because again, like you probably still even haven't processed the loss of this long-term friendship. And maybe it's well overdue and it doesn't sound like she's the type of friend you would really should mourn all that much, but like it's still going to affect you. And it was like something you really didn't get closure from.
Yeah.
It was abrupt. And then this kind of coincidence happened that some guy she casually dated a long time ago for a brief period of time showed up in your life. And she used that as a way to like, honestly, reach out to you again. Honestly, someone like her is probably pissed that you haven't like begged for forgiveness and begged to be a part of her life. And the fact that you kind of like, okay, well, I guess we're not as close as I thought. And you kind of distance yourself was not something she wanted or expected.
Yeah.
And that was a way of you standing up for yourself. And then finding out that you started dating this guy was a way back in, honestly, to keep, and instead of this directly facing the real drama between the two of you, which is the friendship, she used this situation, right? And yeah, it's not going to come from a place of objectivity. And she's certainly not going to like look in the mirror and ask like, herself what the parallels between how she met that guy and how you met that guy and whether she's even in a place to give a shit. She's conveniently telling herself that like you're kind of friend. I mean, she called you as a friend. You haven't spoken with this person in months. You had a falling out with you, but she called you up acting like you guys were like had a sleepover 2 nights ago. And during that sleepover, you completely lied to her about some guy that you're dating that she used to date. Like that's the energy she's bringing. And it hurts because
I almost like wanted to say to her, like, what do you expect me to do? Like reach out to you when I start dating him, even though we weren't on speaking terms like that. You know what I mean? That's just not going to happen. It wasn't like she also, so the month before she had reached out to me about him when she saw the picture that my mutual friend posted of us, like I had wished her a happy birthday. And she had said that I probably just wished her a happy birthday just because to soften the blow when this came out that him and I are dating. And I'm just like, not everything is about
Yeah.
not everything is about you. Like I didn't say that to her. Like
Why
I kept
not?
it honestly very because I just feel like I don't want to engage in crazy behavior.
Okay.
Like
Well,
I
good.
just feel like there's some people that are she's always has to kind of have like the final word or the final thing to say. And so I just I really don't like engaging with people when people act like that because I just know it's not gonna like the conversation's not gonna really go
Yeah.
anywhere. And so she did, you know, kind of have her last word and like she said, you know, some pretty like mean things, like saying that him and I can just live in whatever delusion. And that like I mean it just was like it
I
honestly
mean,
was funny, but
that sounds a little delusional on her part to be speaking with such passion about a guy when she's engaged, which is funny since that was
yeah.
why you guys had a falling out, was centered around her engagement. But listen, my guess is
Yeah.
from your standpoint, just a guess, that you're having a hard time processing this because there's a part of you that realizes sounds like you're happy so far early in this relationship with this guy, and that's great. And there's
Yeah.
a part of you that's now that she knows, and now that you know that she's upset about it, there's a part of you that's probably worried that this is really going to solidify the end of this friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, and I think it's just more so like the character attacking because like she
But why?
basically
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
not.
posted as
Yeah,
like
but like that's not. That can't. But after talking this through with you,
yeah,
you know what your
yeah,
intentions were when this all happened. When he reached out,
yeah,
however he reached out, you know whether you did something shady or not.
yeah,
Or this was more of a serendipitous situation where like there was some kind of weirdness to it because of the history, but like you didn't do anything wrong. Like that's pretty black and white, and you know that answer. And then you also know this person who reached out and attacked your character is someone who like has a history of playing dirty and being mean when she doesn't get her way.
yeah, yeah, that's
And
true.
so you just have to like process that way. Again, like, you're upset about be upset. You lost a friend, that's sad.
Yeah,
But you're giving her too much power to actually listen to some of her criticism when deep down you know her criticism is a little delusional and a little out of pocket and not coming from a place of objectivity, but anger and resentment and frustration on her part. And you know you're not doing anything wrong. You know you would have moved a little bit differently had you been friends. But again, like I don't know. Like I don't know how this relationship's going. Sounds like pretty well so far. Like how long you been dating him? You see a lot of potential here?
we've been dating since like beginning of December.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been a few months now. It is long distance.
But if it
So
ends to if you get a call from some random girl being like he's cheating on you with me and you have a very devastating breakup,
yeah.
that wouldn't change how you feel about this friend, correct?
No, it wouldn't. I mean, the only thing I will say she did try to say too when she'd reached out about seeing the picture is that she was basically just saying like, you know, I would just be careful if I were you. Like he love bombed me and like
Yeah. So it sounds like he ended that fling.
but I know like he just never saw he knew he was never going to date her and he even said that he was relocating for a job when
Whatever.
they
I'm just
started
saying it
talking.
sounds like if she had
Yeah.
it her way, she would have kept hanging out with him and he stopped calling.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you know,
Yeah.
there's so many and love bombing. I mean, like
I
love.
know.
Yeah. People misuse that word so much. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he got excited for a brief period of time, but to your point, it sounds like he was like, "Hey, like I'm not looking for a girlfriend anytime soon, and but I really like you, you know." And who knows? But listen, it doesn't sound like you're doing anything wrong. She has given you every reason to accept that this friendship it doesn't have a long-term future.
Yeah.
and I wouldn't expect her to make some meaningful changes. And this was a friend that like it served its purpose, as many friendships do early in life. And why we're friends with people when we're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and early in life is very different than why we're friends with people in adult life. Most of us, as we get older, we get more selective about who we are friends with, and those circles are smaller, but they are more meaningful. For someone who claims that they don't want to have other people's drama in their moments, she didn't try to diffuse the situation. She made it more dramatic, and then she, the next day she made more accusations. For what? Like, because you were sad that you wanted to talk at dinner? Were you hysterical? Like, were you screaming? Were you crying?
No. I think maybe when I was talking to her, like I had teared up a bit, but it wasn't in like a way that was like, oh my God.
So
Like,
you were clearly sad and maybe a little upset.
And I just kept saying, I just feel hurt. Like I just feel blindsided. And I was like, it just is,
and a reasonable person could have been like, listen, Nicole, I'm honestly really sad. Can we talk about this later? I don't mean to discount your feelings, but I do want to enjoy this dinner. Your friendship means a lot to me, and I do want to handle it, but I don't want to disrupt this whole dinner, but you have a right to be confused. I'm sorry, we can talk about it later. And she could have just been direct with you that she like still wanted to enjoy this dinner, and like she didn't have to be a total mean girl about it. She chose to like get in an argument with you, tell you can leave, call you out at dinner, and then just the next day just come at you in an aggressive way without ever just thinking, of course, why wouldn't someone who like I told one thing and did another might be a little upset? And thank God they're upset, because like she also, if you didn't care, she'd probably be like, why do you not care? I mean,
well, exactly. And I think just, the way that it went down, and then the fact that she said that it was like, that was a misunderstanding. That girl wasn't supposed to get that maid of honor card. There was only supposed to be a matron of honor, which is her cousin. And I was like, all that's, I'm like, I could care less whether I'm a bridesmaid or a maid of honor. It was more so, I just felt blindsided in the moment.
Well, yeah. Then it's like, did you change your mind? Did I do something wrong? Did I,
Yeah, like she kept going back to like me feeling that I was so upset that like I no longer am being considered as maid of honor, which like I don't care. It's her wedding, and who she decides to have in it is like, would I been maybe a little bit blindsided if I wasn't even a bridesmaid in her wedding, considering like the level of friendship that we had? Yes. But like for maid of honor, like I just didn't expect any title, and I think that's what was hard, is because I feel like I kind of gave her grace and accepted her through kind of pretty like crazy times in her life, of where she's kind of like acted really out of pocket, and I've kind of stood up for her to other friends, because some people have like questioned like what are you still doing being friends with her? So I think that in itself too, I think I definitely have my answer there. I think it just is, a bummer whenever a friendship like that happens. But I wanted to just get your perspective, because I listened to, your podcast, and I appreciate the advice that you give. And just wanted to kind of like an outsider's opinion to see if I truly was like crossing a line with dating this guy, or whether this is just kind of a personality thing when it comes to her.
I think it's definitely the latter, and I think she has a little bit of a bruised ego. I think it's all kind of convoluted for her, like why she really reached out or what her intentions are, but she clearly prioritizes her feelings above anyone else's. And it sounds like, as we reflect back on your friendship with her and what you know about her, that is not new information. That is just something this is the first time you've really been impacted by her self-centeredness. And now you know what it feels like to like that other people have experienced. So the fact that you are willing to even ask the question, could I be doing something differently? Did I do something wrong? Like, I think demonstrates that I'm sure you've been selfish before, but you have the ability to like consider other people's feelings, and like you you do prioritize your friendships to the point where you make considerations. At this point, you need to accept that you're not doing anything wrong, because you've gotten to the point where even your friends have been like, girl, you're cool. And you're like, oh, yeah, but like, are you sure? Because like she called me a bitch and she says and now you're asking me and I'm giving you the green light. So I think you just need to be comfortable with knowing that like you didn't do anything wrong, and you just have to say goodbye to this friendship and stand up for yourself. She reaches out, you just be like, honestly, what is your problem? Like, I'm really sad that we stopped being friends. But like, that was crazy. Yeah. Honestly, that was crazy that night. Like, I'm sorry I was a little caught off guard and hurt, but like your response to my being a little hurt just because it happened at your dinner was mean. It was mean, and your follow-up was mean. And like, you made it all about you, I mean, are you so important that like no one's allowed to have hurt feelings just because you got engaged? Like, what is that? Give yourself permission to move forward and say goodbye to this friendship, and not let her and her kind of bully behavior get into your head and make you question your character and your integrity. You know deep down whether you did something right or wrong, and it doesn't sound like you did.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for the call. Congratulations on this new and exciting relationship. Hopefully it works out, and let her go live her life.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Nice meeting you.
You as well.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hitting protein goals every day is no joke, and finding something that actually makes it easy and delicious is even harder. The only thing that's helped stay consistent with protein without feeling like a chore, our next sponsor, Veracity, and their Power Protein. This podcast is sponsored by Veracity. Welcome to an all-natural way to get the protein you need. Veracity is revolutionizing health by tackling the root cause of so many issues: metabolism. With Veracity's drug-free, clinically proven, and doctor-formulated solution, your body can use protein more effectively, so you aren't just drinking calories, you're building a stronger metabolic foundation. If your goal is more protein in your diet or just a better way to satisfy your cravings, you need to try the Veracity's doctor-developed Metabolic Power Protein. Metabolic Power Protein is your daily sidekick for a healthy metabolism, sustainable energy, and appetite control. Every 2 scoops provides 20 grams of plant-based protein to fuel your metabolism without unnecessary sugar, toxins, and calories. Plus, their protein is third-party tested for toxins and heavy metals, so you get the fuel you need without the baggage you don't. Don't you love it when something is scientifically legit but doesn't come with a warning label that makes you panic? Just 2 scoops every morning. Sticking with Veracity's Metabolic Power Protein couldn't be easier. So get the protein you need and satisfy your cravings the natural way with Veracity. Head to veracityhealth.co and use code VIALL for up to 60% off your order. Once again, that's veracityhealth.co for up to 60% off. And make sure to use my promo code VIALL so they know we sent you. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, account, and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this year and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code VIALL.
Monarch keeps you focused on planning and hitting financial milestones, not just tracking your spending. Monarch gives you a complete picture, budgets, debt payoff, timelines, savings goals, net worth, so you can make decisions that actually move the needle. Unlike most other personal finance apps, Monarch is built to make you proactive, not just reactive. They have AI tools built on Monarch Intelligence, AI Assistant, AI Insights, and AI Weekly Recap. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple. Use code VIALL at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off monarch.com, code VIALL. All right. Well, if you didn't know, I used to work in the OR as a certified surgical technologist, so I've clocked literally hundreds of hours in scrubs. And once I discovered FIGS, I basically refused to wear anything else. I have to say, it makes waking up at 5 a.m. very easy. It makes the 12-hour-long shifts so much easier because you are so comfortable. And they have so many different styles. If you are a jogger kind of girl or a flare kind of girl, maybe you're tall, maybe you're petite, maybe you like 2 pockets on your waist or 1 pocket up on your chest, whatever it is that you like, FIGS has it. They have so many colors to choose from. So whether you are in a hospital and you have a certain color that you have to wear, or you work somewhere where you can just switch up your colors every day, FIGS has the options for you. And they are releasing new colors all the time. They also have outerwear, accessories, loungewear, and even teamed up with New Balance on sneakers for long days on your feet. That's like every day, right? So if you're listening and in healthcare, or you know someone who is, it's the perfect time to upgrade your scrubs to FIGS. Use code FIGSRX for 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com. That's wearfigs.com. Code FIGSRX. You are going to love these.
How's it going?
Hi, my name's Rose. I'm 28, and my boyfriend of 2 years refused to do long distance because I'm moving to Miami for a job. So I'm wondering if it's the right choice to lose the one, or who I think is the one. I don't know.
Okay. Well, congratulations on the new job.
Thank you.
How excited are you about the job?
So that's the hardest part about it because I am really excited. And I think going into choosing, is it okay if I just jump into?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, basically kind of the way things happen is I just graduated from law school. I'm going to be a prosecutor. This is like my dream job. And when I was kind of coming down to choosing different jobs for the next coming year, I got both a job offer in our hometown and in Miami. And when I was weighing the pros and cons of both jobs, I mean, they're pretty similar jobs overall, except for the fact that the Miami office is better. It would allow me more opportunities down the line. And also, too, another thing about it at the end of the day is, I've been in my hometown for a while at this point. So there is kind of a part of me that wants to go somewhere different temporarily, just for a little bit to get that experience too. And I mean, Miami, like, why not? The beaches, I love, so
Yeah.
that's, and so, but the only downside with it was when I was kind of choosing between the two offers, I talked to my family, my friends, and everyone was on board with it except for my boyfriend. But the thing is, it wasn't that he wasn't on board with it because basically when I was considering both offers, I talked to him and I was basically like, hey, I'm really excited about this offer, but I mean, I want to make sure this is okay with you because, we'd been dating for 2 years. Like I saw at the time, because unfortunately we broke up, but I saw a future with him. And so I wanted to make sure like he was on board with it. And he basically said to me, he was like, I don't want to move to Miami, but this is important for you. I will support you in this. We can do long distance. So based on that, I took the offer. And also too, another thing that I was clear with him about too was kind of saying that it's only going to be temporary for a couple years at most. And then I do plan on coming back to like our hometown where we are. So basically, having done that, I took the job offer and then a couple months passed by. This is like, we're getting to like November at this point. And I kind of, in retrospect, I kind of noticed that he was starting to kind of pull away a little bit in little ways, but I didn't really realize at the time. But anyways, then in November, he comes to me kind of out of the blue and is basically just like, hey, I don't want to do long distance when you're in Miami. And also like, I am not even sure if I want to like get married or like, and then I kind of asked him a little bit too. I was like, well, is the long distance really what's causing you to have doubts about this relationship? And he also just said too, he was like, sometimes I feel like I'm a sidekick in our relationship. You're doing all these great things. And he is too, like he has a really good job. So that's why it was kind of frustrating for me in that conversation because, to me, I was like why wasn't this a conversation? Why are you
Sure.
immediately jumping to breaking up now? So basically, I kind of, after that conversation, in that conversation, I kind of took it as, well, this is us breaking up right now. So I told him, I basically kind of gave him a little bit of an ultimatum. I basically said to him, I was like, okay, well, if we're breaking up now, we're done. We cannot be friends. We have to be completely done. And he kind of backtracked. He was like, what do you mean we can't be friends? What do you mean we can't still see each other? He didn't really fully think through what it meant to actually be broken up. So I kind of told him, I was like, we're either fully together or we're done. And he chose, he was like, no, I want to stay together. So
can I just pause for a second?
yeah.
when he came to you and was like, hey, just kidding. Not sure if I can do long distance. And oh, by the way, here's some other things that have been bothering me. How quickly did you jump to, so I guess we're breaking up?
So I kind of maybe a little quick. Well, my response, I kind of did go on the defensive a little bit because I basically kind of said to him, I was like, well, I want to be with someone who's 100% committed to me, who knows that they want to marry me, who is willing to make the sacrifice to do long distance because, my future husband who I want to get married to, like eh, things come up in marriage and you have to be able to kind of compromise,
Mhm.
at certain points. So like that was kind of what I told him, and he and I did say to him too, I was like, like you can think about it, but like that's kind of where I'm at with it. And he was kind of like, well, okay, but I don't want to break up. I don't think the communication wasn't like 100%, like wasn't
Sure.
amazing, I would say,
Okay.
looking back.
On both sides.
Yeah, on both sides.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I think for me, I kind of went on the defensive and was like, if we're breaking up, then we're breaking up. So it wasn't fully at that point in November, even though we were kind of going to break up, we ended up like, staying together, but kind of in limbo. Cause I think in my mind, I was kind of delusional, kind of thinking like, I hope he changes his mind about long distance. I hope he like,
Sure.
maybe us.
But
And it was like right before the holidays
that's not
too.
delusional.
Okay, thanks for saying that because
It's not well, first of all you're talking about is some hope, and this is
yeah.
hope you had with a boyfriend of 2 years. It's not some guy you met a week ago. He surprised you with some new information, which was inconsistent with what he told you in the past. Like you said, some tough conversations. Neither of you were really prepared to have, and neither of you really knew what to say. So the communication, as you recognize, wasn't great. And yeah, of course, like not only it's not delusional, it's incredibly normal for you to be like, well, I hope he comes around. Like obviously this is big news that I'm presenting to him, and you were empathetic to recognizing that it might take him some time to process, and hopeful that like what you guys built over 2 years was enough for him to like not let you go so easily. So like not in any way delusional.
No, thank you for saying that and validating that because I think like the hardest thing for me is just feeling I also felt a lot of guilt at that point too because I was like, well, I'm ultimately the one choosing to leave to take this job in Miami.
What does he do?
He's in banking.
Okay. So it's not like and does he like it?
Sometimes, like he does and he doesn't. So that's also another reason why, like, there are a lot of banks in Miami.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point. And so to your point, if he really wanted to, he could follow you.
Yeah, and so because basically, just to give you a little bit more context too, because I think so basically like after that was so we didn't break up at that point. I'm living in hope. I'm really hopeful. This is like November and December. We do all the Christmassy things. We're visiting his family. We're seeing my family.
You're
Like
you're
it's
almost
very
pretending the conversation didn't
yes.
happen, and you're kind of just like business as usual during the holidays.
Yes,
Yeah.
but in the back of my mind, I still feel this like, oh, so basically how we ended up breaking up was so he went out to dinner with some of his like buddies a couple days before Christmas, and one of his good friends just got engaged and they started dating around the same time that we started dating. So that was kind of like, I mean, everyone has their own timeline, but I just think because of the situation that was going on with him and I, it kind of was a little bit of a salt in the wound. So when we were talking on the phone about that dinner like the next day because I was talking to him. I was like, "Oh, okay, like how was dinner, whatever." And I think to be fair, I did, don't touch the pot if you don't want to get burned, right? Like I asked him, because I knew I was like, they're definitely gonna ask about him and I after, because of course, because basically like I asked him, I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's so great that they got engaged, did anyone kind of say to you like, hey, what's up next for you and Rose? Like, what's going on there? And at first he kind of like, didn't really give me an answer, but I kind of pressed him on it. And he was like, yes, they did ask me. And I told them it's probably not gonna work out because she's moving to Miami. In that moment, first of all, my heart was like broken. And secondly, it was kind of like, I think we both realized like on that phone call, like, oh, this is the standstill here. Like you can't really go back from that, But so we kind of, and this all happened on the phone. So I think we ended that phone call kind of being like, okay, well, I guess we're breaking up, but like we can like, I don't know, we'll have a talk later today. I get home from work later that day and he texted me and was like, I already dropped all your stuff off. I dropped all your keys off. So I was at this point, I'm just like, everything is just happening so quickly.
Did he ever ask you not to move?
So later that night, when we did finally have like a final in-person talk. And he said to me, he was like, I don't think it would be fair of me to ask you not to move, which like is
Okay.
I thought that was nice of him to say, but also like the thing is for me, I think that the hardest
But
thing
he
for
still never
me,
ever asked you.
he never asked me like not to move. He was
I
just
wonder,
like,
I'm
oh,
curious. Like, I appreciate the fairness and I appreciate you seeing the good in that statement. But your career aside and all those things, I imagine there's a part of you that wanted him to ask you not to move, to at least, whether he is right or selfish or not recognizing your career, but like I imagine you still wanted to hear that. Like, don't go.
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like for me, the hardest like the guilt that I'm feeling now, the hardest thing for me is that if when we had originally talked about it, right, me considering the offer, if he had said like, "Hey, I'm having concerns about you taking this offer. I don't know if this is the right move for us," at least I would have had all the information I needed to make the decision, right? And then I could have thought about it and been like, wait, like, maybe I don't want to take this offer. Maybe this isn't the right offer, like just for all parts of our life together, because I think because he waited and was like, hey, actually, I know you already took the offer, but I don't want to do long distance anymore. And also too, the fact that he doesn't even want to try long distance. That's the thing that really messes with me too. It's like it's not like we tried long distance and it's not working. He doesn't even want to try. And then another layer is I'm not even moving until August. So there's all this time now until August and we broke up like now. That's what I'm kind of wrestling with too.
After he dropped his stuff off, have you communicated at all?
Yeah, so basically, the last time um I saw him like after he dropped his stuff off and we had one final talk. We were both crying. He was saying like I'm so sorry like like and then one thing that he said to me too that really messed with me was he said he was like I feel like if we had a longer conversation about you going to Miami, we could have avoided all of this. Which like
What does that
why
mean?
didn't we have that conversation then?
It feels like neither of you have really put it all on the table, and at least you, I can't speak for him, but it sounds, I mean, dropping your stuff off is hardcore. But have you just said exactly how you feel, whatever that is? I don't want to lose you. Let's have this conversation. Have you fought to keep this relationship? Do you feel like you fought for this relationship without trying to consider his feelings and fairness and am I being selfish or am I asking too much for him? Like whatever the right answer is, do you feel like you have put all the cards on the table and made it very clear that I don't know how we're going to figure this out, but what I do know is I don't want to lose you. Have you made that clear?
Yes, I texted so shortly after because originally after we broke up, I was like, I'm gonna go into no contact. I'm gonna be really good. But I think because of the guilt I was feeling and just overall, like I was like, no, no contact is not the right choice at this point in time. So I did. I texted him. I was like, I don't want to lose you. I think we're throwing our relationship away. There's so much that could even change before I go to Miami. I asked him, I was like, would you ever consider doing couples therapy with me so that we could talk about like, why you're having these reservations about me going to Miami. I also said to him too, I was like, we could do a checkpoint thing where if I get down there and like, okay, a couple months, 6 months in, it's not working, it wouldn't be the best thing for my career, but I would be open to considering coming back because that's how much I value this relationship, our future together. And he didn't want any of it. He was like, no. And he even said too, he was like, I wouldn't want to do long distance for anyone. It's just not what I want to do. Like, I don't want to do long distance. Which was also really hard to hear.
Yeah. Well, I think you have your answer. The answer you want, but there is something more that he's not telling you. And maybe he doesn't have the answer. Long distance isn't ideal. No one roots. No one's like, I want to have a long distance relation. I mean, maybe some people find the joys in missing people and things like that. But I think he's using you as an excuse. You said did you try to peel back any more of that comment he made about, I feel like I'm your sidekick?
A little bit. I kind of like from what he told me about, he said that basically he was like, you have all these things going on. We're always busy on the weekends doing stuff, like going to your events, your friends' stuff. Like, and I just feel like I can't keep up with that. So that's kind of the extent that I peeled that part back. And he just basically
what
said,
couldn't he keep up with?
I mean, I'm like a big runner, so we would do like 5Ks with my mom on the weekend. But it's like all those things too, like everything he said, like if he had said to me, "Hey, I don't want to do the 5K this weekend. I don't want to go to your friend's wedding or whatever." Like I would have been okay with that. Like it just there was no conversation. It was just like, "Hey, no, I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah. I think the honest, my guess is he used this opportunity that you had as an excuse to end the relationship for ultimately a relationship that wasn't working for him. I don't know why or the reasons, but his lack of willingness to fight for it. Because listen, what you're presenting, not ideal for sure, but as you've said, like, first of all, even if he decided not to move, it's just a plane right away. It sounds like you guys both have some means. You have some extra cash. So you can afford some, travel expenses that aren't ideal. But like, again, there's Miami. It's a fun city. Like, there's a lot of ways to make this work that he is refusing to consider. I think you should let go. The comment he made about, well, if we had a longer conversation about you moving, maybe we could have worked this out. Forget he ever said that. He didn't mean it.
Okay.
I think that was something he said to put the blame on you when deep down he knew that he didn't want to keep this relationship going, but either didn't know or didn't have the guts to tell you.
Yeah. No, that's really helpful to hear, even though it's not what I want to hear, but but I think one other thing, can I just add on one other thing that kind of in the aftermath? So basically, since then, because I completely agree with what you're saying, even though it's not what I want to hear. But since then, now, I'm still here in my hometown until August. And so since we did break up, so basically we do, for better or for worse, we still go to the same gym. So in the ensuing months, I did see him like a month ago at the gym. And at that point, I was actually starting to feel better, really like, kind of detaching from the situation, just in a good. So basically, I saw him at the gym and we had a brief encounter where I was just like, oh, hi, like, and he said hi, whatever. After that, the next day, he texted me and was like, oh, like, I saw your car at the gym today. Too bad I didn't see you there, something like that. And then he actually asked me to get coffee. And we did end up getting coffee. Everything felt like just normal, except we're not together. And it was kind of like hard for me because, he was like, oh, my mom asks about you all the time. He brought like a gift, a Christmas gift that is his like cousin or sister had gotten for me. So I guess my last kind of question on is how do I like what advice do you have for me going forward? Because I think I know deep down in the best case scenario, I would love for him to come back and be like, wait, I made a huge mistake. Like, I don't want to lose this relationship of 2 years. Um, so I either want that to happen or I want to just fully move on. So what do you think that was bad that we had coffee? Like what?
I think it's part of the process. Was it bad? No. Was it helpful in you moving forward? No. And so I think it's give yourself some grace. Yeah, you're still healing from this, and you still have reasons to have a little bit of hope. It's normal because I think I'm right about there's something he's not sharing with you, or maybe he doesn't have the answer. You guys, he obviously enjoys you. You had a nice couple-year relationship. There's a good chance he doesn't have the clarity about why he feels the way he does. He's not asking you not to move. And the fact that you could find work in your hometown, which it's not like he's asking you not to, he's just asking you not to go to Miami.
Yeah.
He's not doing that. There's just so many ways he could be fighting for this relationship and that he's not doing that gives you the answer, which is to probably move on. It's normal to get a cup of coffee, but going forward, I would be resistant to doing that again unless he has something new to say. If he were to reach out to you and say, "Can we get together? Can we talk?" I would say, "About what?" And if he's just like, "Well, I don't know, I just want to talk," be like, "Well, I mean, I would love to talk, but I want it to be productive. And if it's not about us figuring this out, then I don't see the point." Because right now, you're still in town. If nothing else, from his point of view, the relationship was good. And obviously there's a reason why he's in it. And again, if I'm right about him using this opportunity you have as an excuse to end the relationship, he's still as I always say, when people decide to move on, right? So forgive me if I don't want this to hurt your feelings, but if he wants out of this relationship, there is a part of him that thinks there's something better out there for him. Doesn't mean he wants to find someone better than you, but there's the only reason why we leave, right? It's just like, I think there's something else better there for me, right? And it's fairly easy to have that feeling. It's really hard to follow through with it and execute it, right? Because that something better almost never shows up right away. And even if that something better comes from maybe he met a girl at a gym or something and had a good date or something, there's highs and lows in meeting new people. And he could have a 2-week fling with some girl and it could be really fun. And maybe she validates him in ways that he didn't feel validated by you because, she doesn't make me run 5K or whatever it is. And then that dies and then he misses you, and he gets bored, and he's reminded of having good times and the coffee or seeing you at the gym is it would just be nice to see her, but he's still not doing anything about it. He's still not, he's still not fighting for the relationship. So him reaching out right now, if he doesn't have anything specific to talk about, is him selfishly treating his feelings, if that makes sense. It's I have this immediate feeling. Maybe I'm feeling insecure. Maybe I'm feeling a little lonely. I'm missing her companionship, and I need that right now. So I want to reach out, and she'll make me feel good in this moment. And that's why we reach out to exes, and that's why we check in, and because he is not necessarily second guessing his decision, but he is. It's coming from a place of the fear of the unknown, But it's not enough to fight for the relationship. It's not enough to ask you to stay. Reconsider the long distance. You're all right now. You're in this state of let's just figure it the fuck out. I want to be with you, and I want these other things, but we can have it all. It might not, maybe not in the short term, but in the long term we can. And in the short term, the things that the inconveniences we have to face, there could be exciting opportunities that come from it. Who knows what it is? But you're open to all that, which is the right approach, and he's not. I think the best thing you can do is just accept that, as hard as it is, and know that you've done everything you could to make sure that you weren't leaving something special. You started this call basically saying, is it worth pursuing this dream job while giving up the love of my life? And that is an inaccurate statement right now, because it's not the love of your life. It's not the best relationship you ever, and maybe it's the best relationship you ever had, but there's some issues with how he's showing up in this relationship. And there's some issues with how his willingness to support you in your dreams. In every relationship, and certainly every marriage, there are seasons of, it's my time to show up for you because you've shown up for me. And sometimes we can show up at the same time together and we can both have what we want. And then there'll be other times where this relationship requires a little bit more sacrifice from me, so that my person can fulfill their dreams. But I find fulfillment and seeing my person accomplish what they want and things like that. And he is not being fulfilled by you following your dreams. Like right now, like I started this, show before I met Natalie. And then I just kind of brought her in. She just kind of fell into it. Right. And I really think Natalie is a star. I think my time on TV or doing this show, I'm a grinder. I can perform. It doesn't come naturally to me. My success, I think, is mostly based off of, I don't need outside validation for me to show up every day and do what I think is right. And I think that allows me to continue to have success. I think my wife is a star. I think she's a natural. I think if she wanted to pursue acting, even now, but certainly early in her life, I think she could have been a really talented actor. And now that we are hosting this Netflix show together, all I care, I want her to have all the attention. I really could give a fuck about whatever recognition I get. I just think she is, I find so much joy and her, having these opportunities and discovering these opportunities. And I'm really curious if she wants to continue to pursue these opportunities, what she can make of herself. And I get so much personal satisfaction and joy from that, Now, partly because I'm also like very secure with what I've done. That's why I asked him, is he happy with his job? So it is easy for me to really root for her because I'm not feeling like I haven't accomplished things or that I haven't, arrived. So, I know that sounds weird. But you get what I'm saying, right? And he doesn't have that joy from your success. And I think that's a big thing, especially someone like you who has her own personal aspirations and career goals. I think it's really important you find someone who can find joy in your success, especially because you are someone who clearly isn't like this self-centered, you're not saying, hey, listen, I am a career woman. My job is my number one priority. You will always be second fiddle to that, because there are people who are like that. Just like, and I understand, especially in today's age where women still feel like they have to choose between a career or being a family person. And there's this expectation for a lot of, I think, women who, really, had these dreams, went to college, invested in their careers, invested in their education, their secondary education, went to school, got a job. Am I going to be asked to give that all up someday? And there are a lot of women who are very protective of that. And so when they meet people, they want to set that expectation and boundary that's just like, just so you know, and you're not doing that, and you're giving him every opportunity to feel safe, to support you, while not feeling like he has to completely lose himself. And the fact that he is still feeling this way and even though he's receiving your support is telling, which means that he needs something that you can't give him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for you to in any way not embrace this new opportunity with complete enthusiasm and excitement because you think that you are giving up on something special, I would think it would be the wrong mindset for you, because it's not, it's not as special as you want to believe it is or was. And you receiving this opportunity it happened the way it should. And it was probably a probably meaningful moment in your relationship that really shed a light on some issues that he was having and the relationship was having, that he didn't have the ability to get the clarity himself or the guts to really get there on his own. And again, I think he used this opportunity to scapegoat his own feelings of doubt and insecurity, and without facing it and just having an honest conversation with you out of fear that it might hurt your feelings, he's put it all on you, and essentially blamed you for the demise of the relationship.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And like, it does really make me feel a lot better too. Cause even as hard as it is, like you saying that, it is, I mean, I think like what you and Natalie have is so beautiful. And I want someone who thinks I'm a star. I want to be, in a relationship where I feel like safe to pursue my dreams, but also know that I'm gonna support them too, and have that kind of, that supportive dynamic. And if that's not him, then, as sad as it is, because it was like my most meaningful relationship, that's okay, because now I can go forward to Miami and just be really excited about it and invest in myself and also just focus on the future.
Yeah. And you've done everything you could. You've made it clear that you didn't want this. And the good news is that whether he wants to realize it now, he will realize it someday, that this was his choice, and it wasn't yours. You accepted his choice with a lot of guts, and you had the guts to put out what you wanted, but strong enough in your beliefs that you weren't going to feel bad or allow what he did to make you second guess your choice. And yeah, I think, as hard as it is, and I'm sure it's sad, that the good news is I think you have a lot more clarity about this relationship than you realize. And you can, again, I think, pursue this opportunity without any regret. And I would challenge you to not, in those times, am I making the right choice? Will I regret this? You won't. Because if he wants to change his mind, if he wants to fight for this relationship anytime soon, my guess is you would be open to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still a chance. You still have that hope that, again, it's not delusion. But you're not going to wait around, and you're not going to feel sorry for yourself. And the choice is his. There's nothing. You've done everything you could. So Buck, the ball's in his court, so to speak. And if he wants to man up and face his fears and figure his shit out, he can. And probably there's a good chance you probably will be single for a while, only because you have other pressing things going on. You're focused on your career. If some guy shows up in your world that surprises you, yeah, maybe you'll be open to it. But I'm guessing you're not giving me the energy that you're gonna like jump on you have shit going on. You're a busy person. And so honestly, he's luckier in this situation than other people would, because you have so much going on that you would be available to consider him coming back, longer than, he might have a longer window than he otherwise would. So again, I'm only saying this to make, you should feel no guilt, no regret, and no second guessing the decision you made.
Oh, thank you so much, Nick. No, that's really helpful, because I really did. I did everything I could, and now it's on him. If he wants to figure it out, like, that's great. But if not, I'm going to Miami. I'm gonna embrace this opportunity and just not look back, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry this didn't work out, but congratulations on this opportunity. Miami, I'm sure, will be fun. And this is a blessing too, because if you were to choose to make a long distance relationship work, that would steal some of your energy away from this opportunity. It would be a distraction. You would It would make you, this is freeing you up to really crush it at this job in a meaningful way. And maybe this needed to happen for you to really do that. Because relationships take a lot of work. They're hard. They require a lot of emotional energy and a lot of sacrifice. And again, you were willing to do that, but he freed you up to really kick ass.
No, absolutely. Because now, like, I don't have to, because I would have been willing to be the one, traveling every month, every couple weeks. And if he wasn't going to do that,
100%. If he, there are a lot of people do that. It's like, well, you have to make it work. I don't have to make it work. I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And that would have been so draining and so hard on you. And that, honestly, that would have been worst case for him to like kind of try long distance. And it would have really sucked a lot of emotional energy out of you. And it would have really been made the transition a lot more difficult.
No, you're so right. Because I think, like, at first I was like, oh, why is this happening now? Why couldn't we have just at least tried it? But I think, like you said, it is kind of a blessing that it's happening now, that I can, when I do go to Miami, I can go in fully focused on my job, excited about the opportunity.
Yeah. Is there any consideration of just moving to Miami sooner than later and just settling your roots down there and getting familiar with the city before you even start the job?
I would love to do that. The only thing is, like, so I am in, so because, like, I technically, so I'm doing a 1 year job now with working, which I'm really liking. I'm getting great experience, but that job ends in like beginning of August,
Okay.
and then I go to Miami.
Sure,
So
All right.
that's the part, like, I can't, and that's, I think, what was part of adding to my like stress of being like, oh my God, I'm in limbo right now, because if I could move to Miami, I'd love to go tomorrow and then
Sure.
get started already. But I can have that fresh start even now still too, of just
100%.
like having the mentality. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully this was helpful.
Yes.
And yeah, it's I'm sorry about the breakup, but I really think this is this is really a blessing, I think, for you.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much, Nick.
and again, the door's not totally closed. I wouldn't hang on to a lot of hope, and I would move forward. It really, the ball is in his court, and I will say this one final thing: if he does, again, I really want to stress, if he comes back, he has to come correct, and he has to be willing to show up. And it's not just you being grateful that he's willing to try, but how is he going to try? I'm not gonna. Yeah, long distance doesn't work if I have to do all the work. He has to be excited for you. He has to. It has to include him being like, I'm really proud of you, and how's it going, and checking in and making you feel good about your move and your job. It can't be it can't be guilt trips and I'm so sad, I just constantly miss you. You're never, always complain. It can't be that. He has to really embrace this and be happy for you and think about, the way to do, it's just like, I can be happy for Natalie because I know that I benefit from her happiness and success. It's not completely selfless on my part, but we're a team. And as a teammate, you root for each other's successes because ultimately you both win. And right now he's not there with you, and you are.
Yeah, he's on his own team. So if he ever wants to be on the team together, he's gonna, like you said, he'll have to be the one to put that effort in, because I did.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm moving forward.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck. Keep us posted on once you get out there, and I'd love to catch up with you in a few months and see how you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. I'll definitely let you know how Miami's going, any updates. So thank you so much again,
right.
Nick. I'm a great fan of you and the household and everything. So I really appreciate you giving me this clarity and help.
All right. Well, I'm glad it was helpful.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.